Hello and welcome. So today it is all about vanilla fragrances. We are approaching the fall season, and immediately after we start, with the holiday season. And whether you have a birthday coming up or an anniversary or a very special event to attend or just for the holidays, right? Your gift for the holidays, I figured that I would share with you 18 vanilla-centric fragrances that I consider to be true masterpieces. These 18 fragrances are ones that I've had the opportunity to use, most of them quite a bit, because only two of them are 2025 releases. I wanted to make sure to, put together a lineup for you that really included fragrances that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you will really, really enjoy. These are not your typical vanilla fragrances. These are true masterpieces. They will give you a very pleasant feel. They will make you feel beautiful, of course. They will get you compliments. They perform exquisitely. And they are fragrances that should be in your collection for years and years to come because they are that special. I have a total of 18 fragrances to share with you and 3 honorable mentions because there are some fragrances that we've talked so much about them that I figured, it was time to spruce up this lineup. So I have 3 honorable mentions and 18 fragrances to share with you. I also wanted you to know that this is not a review video because all of the fragrances that I'm going to be sharing with you today have already been reviewed here on the channel. And being that I have 18 fragrances to share with you today, if I were to start with a detailed review, we would be here for hours and hours. I also want you to keep in mind that I will not be sharing them in any particular order. I'm just going to share all the fragrances that I really think are special and that are masterpieces, but I will not be ranking them as we go along. I'm not sure that I could even rank them even if I wanted to. But let's go ahead and jump right in because we have quite a bit to cover. If this is your first time here though, I'm Arahi and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. So I have some great news to share with you. I'm sure that you're aware that I've had a discount code with So Avant-Garde for quite a while now, but they reached out to me recently and we are going to be having a new collaboration where I will be able to extend to you a discount code that will give you 30% on any fragrance that you can find on their website. But that will be for a limited time, and it will be from September 26th to the 29th. Of course, I will have a couple of videos where I will provide you with my recommendations from any of the fragrances that they have on their site, but I wanted to let you know well in advance so that you can put your coin together and you also have time to go into their website and see which fragrances you would be interested in picking up and then wait for that specific weekend so that you can get them at a really, really exceptional discount. I really thank you for your support. Of course, it means a lot to me if you do, if you were planning to pick up a fragrance and you end up picking it up using this discount code, because that will allow me to get other collaborations with them in the future where I can extend to you such a serious discount. Anyway, just wanted to share with you the good news. And again, thanks for helping me support the channel. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the honorable mentions. And we're going to start with a fragrance from EBK. And this one is Ruby and Vanilla Intense. Now, this is a vanilla and patchouli fragrance where the vanilla, of course, is very much dominant. It opens with the vanilla and the vanilla is always in control, but the patchouli also plays a very key role, making it a very interesting and different kind of fragrance. It also has a very powdery dry down. Now, the thing about this fragrance is that it's not very easy. Like it's not found at just about any retailer. For the most part, anytime I want to pick up an BBK fragrance, I have to reach out to them via DM on Instagram. But other than that, I tell you, this is so worth whatever you need to do to get your hands on it, because it truly is an exquisite masterpiece. But I have had it in so many lineups here on the channel that I decided to do an honorable mention and not necessarily include it in today's 18 lineup. The next honorable mention that I have for you is a fragrance that truly has a cult following. This fragrance has become a classic for real vanilla lovers, and this one is really, in my opinion, a very strong gourmand. And I'm speaking about Giardini di Toscana, and this one is Bianco Latte. Now, Bianco Latte is a very, very lactonic fragrance. I mean, you have to be a lactonic fragrances lover in order to really enjoy this one. It's very lactonic. It has tonka bean. It has some caramel. It has a very present musk. The musk here is a level 3 to 4, which means you're really going to pick up on that musk, but at least it's not animalic. But all in all, this is an exquisitely done vanilla-centric fragrance, because although it does have other notes, the vanilla does remain the star of the fragrance at all times. The next and last honorable mention that I have for you today will not come as a surprise, because this is another fragrance that has quite the cult following, and this one is Blanche Bette from Liquid's Imaginaires. Now, this is a fragrance that truly is very much about the vanilla. It is very, very lactonic. And you may be wondering, okay, Arangi, you just talked about Bianco Latte and you described it as having quite a bit of vanilla and being very lactonic. Well, the difference is that there is a very present role of white florals in this fragrance that you do not find in Bianco Latte. It is very lactonic to my nose and on my skin for sure, but the white florals also play a key role, but never taking away from the fact that the star of this fragrance is truly the vanilla. So those are my 3 honorable mentions, because they are fragrances that have quite the cult following and that I really consider to be masterpieces. But now let's go ahead and move on to today's 18 fragrances lineup. All right, so let's go ahead and start with a fragrance that is very new to my collection. This is not a 2025 release, if I recall correctly. This may be a 2024, but it is a fragrance that I did add to my collection this year, and I've already featured it several times because it is a deep love. I was thoroughly impressed from first sniff. Not only did I fall in love with the scent itself, but its performance, everything about this fragrance is just absolutely exquisite, making it a true masterpiece in my opinion. And I'm speaking about Pantheon Roma, and this one is A. And look at this beautiful bottle. Now, Pantheon Roma A is a fragrance that has some fruity notes, some floral notes, some spicy notes, and it is quite ambery. But at the end of the day, the center star here, the true star of this fragrance, is the note of vanilla. And it is a vanilla that you are going to pick up immediately upon first sniff. You are going to know that the star of the fragrance is the vanilla. Pantheon Roma is also, for me, perfect for all seasons of the year. It is perfection for the fall and winter seasons that are coming up. But this is one that you could pull just about in any season of the year, because it is very versatile with all of those different, note groups and accords, because you have the fruity, the spicy, and the floral, and then on an ambery base and a certain degree of woodiness coming from a kind of earthy patchouli. But all in all, this fragrance is really about the vanilla, playing very nicely with all of those other notes and accords. The next fragrance that I have for you is a fragrance from Victoria Beckham, and this one is 2150 Reverie. And here is the beautiful bottle. I've already featured and reviewed this fragrance here on the channel, but I have to tell you, this is a fragrance that as soon as you sniff it, you are going to fall in love with it, if you're going to love it. But this is not a polarizing fragrance. It has a scent that is absolutely exquisite. This is a true masterpiece. Here you have some tobacco, you have an incredibly done note, which is plum, and then you have that vanilla, which is really the star of the fragrance in my opinion, because as soon as you sniff this fragrance, you're going to pick up on that vanilla clearly. This is a fragrance that really speaks to elegance and and sophistication, which I would say is the signature mark of anything Victoria Beckham does. It is a unisex fragrance in my opinion, but definitely leaning to the feminine side. The next fragrance that I have for you is from Initio, and this has got to be one of the most addictive fragrances in my entire collection across the board, and this one is Absolute Aphrodisiac. And this is a fragrance that is so special because, you know, it does have a very present musk, it does have some white florals, but the musk is very present to the tune of a 3 to 4, and it is a bit animalic, not a tiny bit animalic. No, to me, this musk is definitely animalic, but it has been done in such an incredible way. And I dare say that that musk is part of what makes this fragrance so addictive, because it really is. But at the end of the day, the star of the fragrance is definitely the vanilla. From the first sniff, of this fragrance and throughout the wear, you are going to be sniffing on the most exquisitely done vanilla. The next fragrance that I have for you, I think is the only one that I have not done a detailed review for you here on the channel, so I am going to give you a little bit more detail. And this is the latest from Matiere Premier, and this is Vanilla Powder, but the Extrait. Now, this incredible fragrance, I did share with you my first impression during a Chatty Scent Corner, I believe a week or two ago. But this is a fragrance that is supposed to be, I guess, the flanker to the original, which is the Eau de Parfum. Personally, I'm going to tell you right now, I do prefer this one, although, you know, the original is just an exquisite fragrance. I actually had a little bit of a hard time picking between the original and this one because this is the Extrait and it is smoother. I find it to be a little bit less sweet and to have more vanilla. The vanilla, as the name says it, is truly the star. But here, what makes this fragrance a masterpiece, in my opinion, is the way the vanilla has been done, because it's a very powdery vanilla. It's a very powdery dry down. Honestly, from first sniff, I start to pick up on the powderiness of the fragrance, and by the dry down, it is very powdery, which is what, you know, turns off, you know, certain people. But at the end of the day, this is truly a masterpiece of vanilla fragrance. To me, this fragrance is very aromatic and ambery, very ambery, very aromatic, and it is a unisex fragrance. I can definitely see a lady or a gent wearing this fragrance. I also think that it is perfect for just about any season of the year, with the exception on a very hot summer days, because that powderiness can be a bit much on a very hot summer day. On my skin, it does perform exquisitely, just like the original, because it does give me a full day wear with about a 2 hour, almost approaching the 2 hour mark, with a strong projection and a moderate sillage. But all in all, I can tell you that this is an exquisitely done fragrance. So if you're looking for, you know, a spin, a different kind of take on a vanilla-centric fragrance, then this is one that you may want to try. But I really think that you need to try it. I don't think that this is a safe blind buy. I think you need to try it and make sure that you can handle that very present powderiness of the vanilla. The next fragrance that I have for you is one that I really think is an incredible masterpiece, and to a certain extent, the way the vanilla has been done here is also a bit different. But let's talk more about it, and I'm speaking about Dries Van Noten Chamomile Satin. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Like, it just seems to me that all of the Dries Van Noten bottles are this exquisite, one way or the other. But this fragrance, besides having the vanilla as the star, it also has a very present lavender note. This is a fragrance that is also very addictive and an extreme high compliment getter. But it's also the type of fragrance that as soon as you spray it on yourself, you're going to want to keep sniffing and sniffing and sniffing. So it is quite addictive. It is a very herbal and aromatic fragrance. Oh, this is so good. It smells so good, but it is very herbal in my opinion and aromatic, and the dry down is definitely powdery. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from Mind Games, and you guys know how obsessed I've been with Mind Games fragrances, and this one has got to be at the very top of my list, like my top 3, and I have quite the collection of Mind Games at this point because I have picked them up and picked them up because I just love the DNA of this fragrance house, and this one is Queening. Now, Queening is a fragrance that does have a tad of a fruity presence to it, but it's really all about the vanilla. At that, it also has a very present orris root note that makes the dry down quite powdery. But at the end of the day, that vanilla is the star. Nothing, not an accord or a note takes over for that very, very strong and present vanilla that has been done beautifully. The fragrance is sweet. And it's also a tad boozy because you are going to find the note of rum here. It has a certain degree of woodiness to it, and it is definitely a musk-based fragrance. But the musk here is not animalic in any kind of way, and it's a musk to the tune of like 2 to 3, where 5 is the most and 1 is the least. The next fragrance that I have for you is from a fragrance house that we all absolutely love, and it is from Tomavici, and this one is Zanat. Now let's take a moment to look at this beautiful bottle because it is just exquisitely done, like all Tomavici bottles. This is an ambery fragrance where the vanilla is for sure the star, but it is like highlighted or enhanced by the note of coffee and a dark chocolate. Now that dark chocolate is not a milk chocolate, it's truly a dark chocolate, but it's not bitter in any kind of way. The fragrance is also a little bit spicy, like warm spicy. Very, very interesting combination of notes and accords here. But at the end, you are going to get a fragrance that will not make you smell like food, but it is definitely yummy. There is a yummy quality to it, and the scent is absolutely beautiful. A true masterpiece. The next fragrance that I have for you is from my favorite fragrance house. So you guys already know it's going to be from Xerjoff. And from Xerjoff, I must tell you that there were several fragrances that I could have picked for this lineup, but I just thought that really the one that really made it to this lineup and the one that met all of the requirements that I had was definitely Naxos. Now this fragrance, as soon as you sniff it, speaks of vanilla for sure, but you're also going to pick up on the honey. And the interesting part is that the honey here is quite realistic. It's not synthetic in any kind of way, but also the honey does not make the fragrance excessively sweet, because the fragrance is sweet, but just not to the point of being cloying or obnoxious or just too much. No, the honey and the vanilla here play beautifully. The blend is just exquisite. The lavender adds that floral touch, and there's a certain degree of freshness to the fragrance that I really, really love. The next fragrance that I have for you is from Nichane. And from Nichane, I actually had a couple of fragrances that I could have selected, but I had to go with 100 Silent Ways X, because to me, I own the original, the 100 Silent Ways, but to me, the X took the vanilla to the next level. This is such an incredible fragrance, and I have to tell you that the perfumer behind it is Anne Filippo, which you guys know I mention Anne Filippo here on the channel all the time because I definitely have an affinity to the way that she develops her fragrances. But this one is a vanilla fragrance with a leather note. And in addition to that, the fragrance is a bit animalic, not a tiny bit animalic. No, the fragrance is animalic, which is what I think adds character and oomph to the scent because it is truly very different and very, very special. In addition to that leather, the fragrance is like a tad lactonic, and to top it all off, it's also smoky. And I don't understand really, I know what the notes are, but I don't understand how the accords and tonalities come about in this fragrance. But I tell you, this is a true masterpiece. But at the end of the day, here, the vanilla is also the star, but plays very nicely with all those other notes that I just mentioned and the accords. This next fragrance is a 2025 release, and it is very new in my collection, but you know, this was sent to me, and as soon as I received it and I sniffed it, I have not been able to stop pulling it. It's almost like every other day, or at the end of the day, once I'm done like testing a perfume, I just have to come and sniff this fragrance because it is incredible, but it is also very addictive. And this one is from Ormond Jane Vanilla Mistral. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, the thing about this fragrance is that you guys know that I'm in my fig era. And while the fig is not the star, there are three notes that play very, very nicely with that very, very real dominant vanilla. And those are the notes of pistachio, pomegranate, and fig. But in addition to that, there's like a bit of the fragrance opens like fresh spicy to my nose and on my skin, and then it becomes like warm spicy. So it has a tad of spiciness, and then of course a ton of vanilla. But this is a very, very different vanillic-centric scent for sure. Please let us know if you've tried Vanilla Mistral, because I know some of you have picked it up. But I tell you, this is a masterpiece. The next fragrance that I have for you is Paris Monte Carlo Vanille de Tahiti, but this one is the Extrait. And let me tell you right now that to me, this is a fragrance that is like a basic staple. So when it comes to layering, I have several vanillas in my collection that I love to layer with. But this fragrance is like gold, right? Because it does come in this tiny bottle, and I'm so afraid of running out because it is kind of pricey, even though at this point I think I can find it for you at a discount. And by the way, I will have, of course, a link to all of the fragrances that I will be sharing with you in the description box, and a discount code, which I think I have a discount code for just about every fragrance that I'm sharing with you today. But anyway, to me, this is like a basic staple vanilla. But the thing is, that although I could layer with this one beautifully, I don't like to do it because, again, it's a very tiny fragrance. But I do have several vanillas that I love to layer with, and this is one of them. But what makes this one really special is that not only can I layer with it, but wearing it on its own is just incredible. It is an incredible experience if you are a true vanilla lover, because here the vanilla is as real as it gets. It does not smell like a cooking vanilla or like a vanilla extract or anything like that. No, this is truly a beautiful vanilla scent. This fragrance is all about the vanilla and then the yellow florals. There's some woodiness, and there's like a balsamic quality to the fragrance that just adds like a level of allure to it that I can't even explain. But all in all, this is an incredible vanilla fragrance. But I really think that, you should not use this for layering, but I'm just letting you know that when you layer with this one, because of those florals and all those other notes and accords, it just makes for an incredible combination with just about any scent profile in your collection where you want to add that touch of a beautifully done and refined vanilla scent. So the next fragrance has got to be one of the most complex fragrances in my entire collection. It is really in the top 3 most complex olfactory journey fragrances that I do own. And this one is from Frederic Malle, and this is Lipstick Rose. Now, Lipstick Rose is a fragrance that does have a very centric vanilla, but truly this fragrance is also for my purple florals lovers, because the level of violet and iris that you find in this fragrance is just mind-boggling. You will not miss it whatsoever. So needless to say, the dry down is very, very powdered. Now, all along from the opening and all throughout the olfactory journey, you're going to be getting that vanilla, but followed by those florals, where most of the time to my nose and on my skin, the violet takes the lead, even from the iris. It's really about the iris and the violet when it comes to the florals. Then you have that vanilla on a backdrop of like some serious woodiness, but the woodiness is very smooth. But what really gives everything like a twist is the level of earthiness that you find in it. But as the name says it, this is a scent that at the dry down, although very vanillic, it's still going to give you like a lipstick kind of scent, but in the best way possible. So if you are into fragrances that have kind of that lipstick kind of scent, This one is definitely one that you want to try. But this, like all of my Frederic Malle fragrances, I do not consider a safe blind buy. Please do not blind buy this fragrance. This is one that you really preferably need to get a decant, try it on your skin several times, and then decide if you want to commit to a full bottle, because this is no joke. It is an exquisite experience, truly a masterpiece, but one that you need to try first. The next fragrance that I have for you should not come as a surprise, because if we are talking vanillas and I do not bring Guerlain into the mix, then we really have not talked about masterpiece vanilla fragrances. And I'm going to tell you right now that today I have two to share with you. And if you are or have been with me for a while, or if you are a Guerlain lover, then I'm sure you know which two I'm already going to discuss. But let's start with Vanilla Planifolia 21, the Extrait. Now, this is a fragrance that is quite pricey. Yes, it is. But this is the type of fragrance that I recommend that you put your coins together and you pick it up. But I also think that because of how pricey it is, even though it is a very, very safe blind buy for a vanilla lover, and in my opinion, for a vanilla lover and collector, this is a must. I still think that you should try it just to make sure, because it is quite pricey. But this is worth every single penny of the cost of this fragrance. This is truly the most exquisite and refined vanilla that you can find. This is a masterpiece creation coming from Delphine Jelk and Thierry Wasser, if I remember correctly. But I have to tell you, this is a lifer for me. And I take it really, really slow because I don't want to run out, because I don't want to have to pick up another bottle. But believe me that when I run out, I will be, putting my coin together again and picking up another bottle, because this is a must. This is not a fragrance that you want to layer with. Please, in my opinion, do not waste this juice layering. It's like when you buy, like if you're into champagne and you do like a champagne cocktail and you buy yourself like a bottle of Vouv or of a very, very good champagne, and then you like use it to mix to make a cocktail. No, you do not want to do that. You want to use this fragrance on its own and experience the exquisiteness of it, because it is a true masterpiece. This is a very, very ambery vanilla that also has a certain degree of spiciness, and it has a tad of a powdery dry down and also a bit of a balsamic quality to it. But all in all, this fragrance is truly about the vanilla. It does not smell like a cooking vanilla or anything like that. It is truly an exquisite scent, very refined, very pure though. I call this like the pure vanilla fragrance, because the scent, there is something almost bordering on clean, in my opinion, to this fragrance, but it is truly all about the vanilla. There is not one note or accord that for any moment in the olfactory journey and throughout the wear will take the place of that very, very dominant vanilla. The next fragrance that I want to share with you today is from Day 3 Fragrances. And I'm going to tell you right now that they have sent me several fragrances through time, but this one was the first fragrance that they sent me. And from first sniff, I knew that I had encountered a fragrance house that is beyond exceptional, because there's not one Day 3 fragrance that I've tried to date, and I think at this point I have like 4, that I have not fallen madly in love with. And this one, this continues to be my number one pick from this house, because it is a vanilla that is just beyond exceptional. And I'm talking about Day 3 Elan. And here is the beautiful, beautiful bottle. This is what I would define as a modern, sleek, bordering on minimalist, exquisitely done bottle, because boy, this is just incredible. But this is a fragrance that does have the vanilla as the star. But the thing about this fragrance that really gets me is that it does have some spicy notes. The saffron is the one that sticks out the most to me, but if I recall correctly, there's some pink pepper. But what really gets me about this fragrance is how they have combined the most exquisitely done and smooth oud with that note of vanilla. The oud is not the star of this fragrance, but you are going to pick up on it, but in the smoothest way possible. The oud here truly, in my opinion, is a level 3 to 4, which means that it is a very present oud, but to your nose, it's going to come across as a 1 to 2 level oud, where the oud is so, so smooth. Needless to say, there's nothing barnyardish or, any type of foul smell coming from that oud whatsoever, because while it is a very present oud, number one, it's not the star because it's really about the vanilla, but it plays a very beautiful supportive role to that exquisitely done vanilla. I tell you, if you have not tried Elan, you are missing out on an incredible fragrance, because you are going to get the top of the line vanilla, in my opinion, for a very, very reasonable price point in a fragrance that I am telling you will have you addicted from first sniff. If you own Elan or if you've tried it, please let us know in the comment section what you think about it, because I am telling you, this to me is definitely a masterpiece vanilla fragrance. This next fragrance is from Christian Louboutin, and no, it is not one of the new fragrances that have that spiky cap, which, I'm okay with it. I mean, that's like a weapon, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. This one is from the collection that, that was launched before that Fetiche collection. And this one continues to be my number one favorite from all of the fragrances of Christian Louboutin. And it happens to be a very vanilla-centric fragrance. And this one is Loubi Rouge. And look at this exquisite bottle. I know some fan members really did not like this bottle. They thought it was too chunky, too heavy. But I just think that this is a very luxurious feel and look kind of bottle. This is the type of bottle that if you have it on your boudoir or on your dresser or on your vanity, it's going to look absolutely exquisite. And the great thing about this fragrance is that I think I may be able to find it at a discount for you, which is incredible, because for the longest time you would have to pay full price for this fragrance. I own like 4 from this collection, if I recall correctly, and I paid full price for all of them. But I have absolutely no regrets, because this again is yet another fragrance that once you invest in it, you are going to feel so happy that you saved your coin and you put it into the purchase of this one. But let's talk about Loubi Rouge, because it is a vanilla-centric fragrance, but I'm going to tell you right now, it also has the note of iris, and it takes it absolutely to the next level. Now, the thing about Loubi Rouge is that it is truly a vanilla-centric fragrance, but it opens with such a blast of cardamom. It opens up very much spicy, warm, spicy. And in the opening, it is all about the cardamom. For a minute, you're going to wonder, okay, is this supposed to be really a vanilla-centric fragrance? Oh yes. As you go midway into the olfactory journey, the florals make their appearance. But immediately after that, that vanilla shows up, letting you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it is the star of this fragrance. And that will remain at the dry down and throughout the wear. Truly, it's about like a very, very dominant and present, exquisitely done vanilla that is surrounded by those spicy notes, specifically the cardamom, and the florals, which are truly violet and iris. I really don't pick up on anything else. But this is a beautiful, beautiful fragrance, and it is a bit powdery at the dry down. Not a tiny bit, but not really powdery much, but it is definitely powdery. Let us know if you've tried or if you own Loubi Rouge and your thoughts. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is not going to come as a surprise, because in my opinion, if you have a vanilla masterpiece fragrances lineup and you do not include this one, I think that you missed the boat, but that's just my personal opinion. But this one is from YSL, and of course you know that I'm speaking about Babycat. Now, I have featured this fragrance here on the channel multiple times because this to me is a true masterpiece. Much like when I just discussed Elan and I told you that the beauty of that fragrance, what makes it an exquisite masterpiece, is the incredible way in which they have combined vanilla and oud. Well, in Babycat, it's all about the incredible way that they have combined the vanilla, which is definitely the star of the fragrance, with the note of leather. That leather is unapologetic. It is not raw or very rough or anything like that, or one that's going to be a bit much or obnoxious. No, it's a very smooth leather, But although it is smooth, it is very, very present. It makes no apologies for its presence. And it almost at times, in my opinion, wants to compete with the vanilla. But the vanilla here is no joke. The vanilla is not having it. The vanilla is still the star of the fragrance. At that, it is very, very ambery, and it is musk based. And the musk here, while not animalic, it definitely is a 3 to 4, which means you're going to pick up on it quite a bit. But all in all, this is a fragrance that is a true masterpiece. This is my second bottle because for a very, very long time, we were looking for this fragrance, and at least here in the US, we could not get our hands on it. So finally, when it was made available, I just went crazy and just started picking up bottles. And I did gift a couple of them, but then I did keep a second bottle. And thank goodness that I did do that, because I was able to keep this one and now pull it, which is the biggest size of all the ones that I picked up. This one was the biggest size. But this is an incredibly beautiful fragrance, and I know that many of you have either sniffed it or own it. So let us know what you think in the comment section. The next fragrance that I have for you is a very new fragrance to my collection, but I've already reviewed it here on the channel, and it is from a very new fragrance house. But I have to tell you, this fragrance house has so impressed me from the get-go. And this one is House of Dastan, and specifically Five Senses. Now, Five Senses is truly, it is a fragrance that is quite ambery. It has like a sensual and alluring feel to it. It is a very sensually smooth kind of scent. But it is definitely very ambery. It does have some oud, but the oud here is not to be concerned about because it's not barnyardish in any kind of way. And it's a very, very smooth oud to the tune of like a level 2. You are going to pick up on the oud, but it is very, very smooth. But here you also have a couple of fruity notes, if I recall correctly. There's a certain degree of like earthiness to the fragrance, which also brings some character to it. And it is definitely a fragrance that is warm, spicy. But all in all, the real star of this fragrance is definitely the vanilla. The last two fragrances that I'm going to share with you today will not come as a surprise if you've been with me for a while, because both of these fragrances have been featured here on the channel so many times. One of them is one that I just picked up a second bottle, during a sale recently. But these two, I talk about them all the time. This one that I'm going to share with you next, I think I've talked about it like 2 or 3 times in the past month. And this one is from Bond number 9, and this one is Bond number 1. Now look at this beautiful, beautiful, not just the color, but I just absolutely love the bottle. Now this is a fragrance that is truly a masterpiece. This is all about the note of vanilla, like truly all about the note of vanilla. But the thing about the vanilla in this fragrance is that it is a musk-based fragrance, but the vanilla never surrenders its star space, right? And the beauty of this fragrance is the combination of white and yellow florals that are very, very present, but that blend and play very nicely with that very dominant and present vanilla. There is a ton of vanilla in this fragrance. These two last fragrances that I'm going to share with you have got to be the ones that have the most vanilla of the entire group, because this to me is like a vanilla bomb aided by some white and yellow florals. And at the dry down, you're not going to be able to clearly distinguish which one is which, because the blend is just absolutely exquisite. This performs beautifully. It is a high compliment getter. There is nothing that I can say about this fragrance that is not just exceptional, but the scent itself is just a masterpiece. So if you are a serious vanilla lover, this is one that you also want to give a try. The next and last fragrance that I have for you today, you're probably wondering, okay, Arahi, so where is that other Guerlain fragrance? Because you guys know I had to bring this one. And of course, this is Guerlain Spirituous Double Vanille. Now, this is a fragrance that this is like the cult fragrance for a vanilla fragrances lover. If you are a vanilla fragrances lover, please put your coin together. Just trust me and at least make an effort to pick this one up, because Vanille Planifolia is to me incredible. It is a masterpiece. but it is a bit pricier than this one. But Spirit Juice is going to give you the essence of the Guerlain vanilla that we all adore. It is an incredible fragrance. So this is a fragrance that at first sniff will automatically tell you that it is all about the vanilla. There are some spicy notes here, there are some florals, but at the end of the day, the vanilla is the one in control. And I get the vanilla from the opening, and the opening has a certain level of freshness, if I recall correctly, due to the note of bergamot. There's also like a fresh, spicy quality to the fragrance, and you are going to get some spices. But to me, what really takes this vanilla to the next level is the fact that it has the note of incense. And that incense to me is definitely present. It is very smooth, and it gives like a smoky dry down to that vanilla, giving it quite a bit of character and oomph, because this is a vanilla fragrance. It's all about the vanilla, even though there's those other notes that I just mentioned. It's really all about the vanilla. And I feel that at the dry down, what brings that vanilla to the next level and sets it completely apart from any other vanilla-centric fragrance is that beautifully done, smooth smokiness that is definitely paired with the vanilla. The vanilla continues to be the star, but that smokiness does play a critical role in how the fragrance wears, how it projects, and how it feels all around. All in all, this is truly a masterpiece, and I'm sure you've heard about this fragrance before. If you own it or if you've tried it, let us know what you think in the comment section, but this is one that I highly recommend that you definitely at least try. Is it a safe blind buy? It is very much a safe blind buy if you are a vanilla fragrances lover, but being that it's kind of pricey, maybe you still want to try and get it in store and spray it and try it. But it is definitely worth every single penny, and it is definitely worthy of all of the hype that it has received through time and time. All right, fam, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I hope that this was enjoyable for you. This was definitely very enjoyable for me, because not just pulling and having to select my masterpiece vanillas, but also like spraying them as I pulled them. It was a lot of fun. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, but I'm very interested in knowing if you own any of these fragrances or if any of them are on your wish list. Remember that I will be linking them all in the description box for you, and I will include a discount code if I have one. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.